Hey there everybody, welcome back to the 4 Strings Drummer, the channel. It's all about ukuleles. Today we're going to take an in-depth look at a ukulele from Ohana. Okay, today's ukulele is the Ohana CK-10. This is from their 10 series, which is a laminate entry-level ukulele. So, all laminate mahogany, top, back, and sides. Okay, you've got a solid mahogany neck, what they call a hardwood fretboard and bridge. They don't specify what kind of hardwood it is. It looks like rosewood. I don't think it is. It's probably walnut, something like that. Don't quote me, but nice looking straight grain wood for both. This instrument has a design that is kind of classic looking, all right? It's sort of that vintage style of ukulele. Not too tight a waist, nice, fairly wide lower bout on it that'll give us a little bit more projection, give us a little bit more sustain. When we look at the bridge is a tie bar bridge. Basically, you just take the string, you put it through, bring it back around, do a couple of circles with it, and pull it back through. Nice and easy. And again, it's that sort of a classic vintage type of a look to it. Okay, these are strung with Aquila strings directly from the factory. And we've got a nice black, white, black rosette here. Very traditional looking. Take a look on the back here, move up and look at our tuners. The tuners on this are Grover open geared tuners. Very classic looking as well, vintage vibe. And they're nice and smooth. I've been playing this for a few days now and tuning it, and absolutely no issues with any kind of grinding or slipping, anything like that. Really nice quality. Spin around here to the front of the headstock. Nice symmetrical shape. And I like what they've done here. Again, when we're talking about an instrument that's supposed to be sort of a classic vintage sort of a style, they've gone with a logo on the headstock that matches that. Some instruments they're using the laser etching a lot now. There's nothing wrong with that. It just isn't sort of in keeping to me with this style of an instrument. All right. When we look here, we've got a 1 3/8 nut width, which is pretty standard for this size of an instrument. It's about 35 mil. You've got position markers here at the 3rd, the 5th, the 7th, the 10th, and the 12th, and the neck joins at the 14th fret. Again, that's one of the nice things when you go to a concert scale. If you're talking about an entry-level instrument rather than a soprano, it gives you a little bit more length, so you've got a little bit more room here on the fretboard. Concert scale is 15 inches generally versus 13 on the soprano. So you've got about an extra 15% in your scale length, okay? So that stretches out through the frets, gives you a little bit more room to maneuver your fingers around. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about Ohana and the difference that you get when you buy from a company like them. Ohana is a family-owned business. Ohana actually means family, and it was started by Louis Wu, who wanted to spend more time with his family and work. I think it's something that was a little bit closer to his heart, and that's where he started off the Ohana Music Company. And you know, when you look at something like that, as opposed to ordering instruments directly from a company in China or wherever, these are, you know, they're made offshore like pretty much every other instrument in this price category. But they come in and they go directly to Ohana's head office in California, where the technicians get them and they go over them. So they check the fretwork, they check the action height, they check for any kind of blemishes, any kind of quality issues, and they correct them or they don't sell them. This instrument, when I look at the fretwork on it, somebody spent some time on this because it's perfect. There's not a sharp fret on this anywhere. The string action height is really nice, just slightly higher than what I would normally have on one of my instruments, but that's normal. You want it to come just slightly higher rather than slightly lower. You don't end up with string buzzes that way. And then you can also, you know, very easily take it down a little bit. It's tough to add it back on, right? So it's kind of like getting a haircut. So this is set up. I don't think I would change anything on this if I was keeping this for my own instrument at all. Really nice. And then you look at other things like, you know, little quality clues, okay? So when you look inside this instrument, you can see there's a little kerfing, which is like a little ribbon that's running around the inside bottom edge there. There's another one up in the top here as well. And they put that in when you build an instrument. It gives you extra gluing surface to put the tops and the backs on and glue them to the sides. There's no glue, there's no squeeze out of glue, there's no drips, there's nothing. It is clean as a whistle in there. And the other thing that they've done, so you can see the cross brace that's going across here. Underneath here, you'll see that they've actually carved out the kerfing so that the brace fits underneath it. It doesn't just butt up against it. So the kerfing is kind of cut out like this, and then the brace goes in underneath it. So it makes for a much stronger structure. Okay, and when you see those types of things, you can tell that somebody's paying attention to the quality overall on the instrument. The finish on this, these are a satin finished instrument, so it's not high gloss, which is fine, and it's perfect. Like there's no there's no drips, there's no flat spots in it. They've really done a nice job. It's got sort of a semi-gloss kind of a thing going on here. All the way up the neck, it's exactly the same. Okay, and I think that's one of the differences that you see with a family-owned business, right? They just have they have their reputation on the line in a way, right? So, okay, let's do a little sound sample now, and this will give you a feel for what it's like. So good volume, and actually really nice sustain on this as well. Right? Very good. All right, let's strum it through. Just go through a few chords. Really nice. Well balanced. I'm going to push it a little harder and you can play this pretty loudly also, so that's pretty impressive, I think, for what you pay for these. These instruments are retailing in the U.S. for between $99 and $110, which is a real nice sweet spot for these to fall in. This is the kind of an instrument, I think, that, you know, if you're relatively serious about getting into ukulele, but you don't want to spend a huge amount of money, this is the way to go. This is for what I would call sort of a serious entry-level person. Okay, don't spend $40 on like a little mahalo. There's nothing wrong with that, but the only thing that you may run into is that you're going to want to upgrade quickly. An instrument like this is going to keep you happy for quite a while. The other place that this would sell well is for somebody that maybe wanted to have a second instrument for a different sound, maybe to keep at a cottage or up their campground or on their boat, something like that would make a great second instrument as well. I'm really impressed with it. The other thing I want to talk about is a case. These come as the instrument only. Now, I bought a case as well when I got this, and this is I wrote it down, UB24BK. They have several different cases. I think they give you 3 different choices. And this is the one that I chose. And the reason is that to me, this one, from a price standpoint and from a feature standpoint, fits best with this instrument. So here are the features that I really like on this. Obviously, it's a padded gig bag, but it has a really good pocket on the top. And you can see here, it sits up about an inch to an inch and a half. It can expand that far. And the great thing with this, as opposed to some others, you can put some real stuff in this, okay? A lot of the other bags that you get as a kit or something, you say, oh, it comes with a gig bag. Yeah, it does, but it's just basically a thin piece of material, and it has a little zipper that maybe you can slide a pack of strings into. So, you're not really protecting your instrument. This, you're protecting your instrument, and you've got something that you could put your pack of strings in, but you could also put your capo in, you could put your tuner in, you can put a harmonica in, you can put your kazoo in, whatever you want, right? Because you've got the space, and it's not squishing down against your instrument, against the strings. It has its own little pouch, which I really, really like that. Another little thing here, and this doesn't do anything for the overall usability of the product, but the quality of this is so nice. They've got the logo on here, and it's actually embroidered right in. It's not just silk screened on there that's going to maybe wear off over time. They have taken the extra little level of quality, and they've embroidered that in, and to me that really looks classy. And they've done the same thing here too. They've got another little Ohana that's embroidered there. It's got a nice padded handle here. The zipper pulls as well. This is another thing that I like with this. These are metal zipper pulls. Okay, I've had plastic ones on other instruments, and after a little while the plastic gets brittle and they break, and I hate that. These are nice metal zipper pulls. I think they're going to last a long time. 10 millimeter thick padding all the way throughout. Okay, instrument fits in it perfectly. Flip it over here, you've got little shoulder straps, so if you're going off to your ukulele club or off to high school with it, whatever, you can throw it on your back, and then you can hang it up in your closet, you can hang it up in your locker, whatever. I think they've done a really nice job on this. And again, $28 US for this. You've got a complete instrument package here with, I think, everything that matters for under $130. Okay, let's take a look at some of the pros and cons of this instrument. So I think the first thing I want to talk about as a pro might make you go, what? But I think one of the biggest pros with this is that it is a laminate instrument. There is a lot of brainwashing, I think, that goes on when people talk about laminates versus solid wood. Solid wood is good, believe me. I own both. I've got lots of solid wood instruments and laminate instruments. But when you're talking about an entry-level instrument, there's some real advantages to having a laminate product. Number one is it's a more efficient use of the wood, so it's better for the environment. Okay, you can get a lot more ukulele out of a lot less wood when you're using laminates. Laminate ukuleles and guitars as well are not as susceptible to damage from varying humidity levels. So if you live in an area like I do, where it goes from like 80% humidity in the summertime down to 15% in the wintertime because you're running heat in the house, that can really play havoc with the wood of your instrument. You have to make sure with a solid wood instrument that you keep the room humidified and that you have humidifiers in the case. Maybe you have to keep it in the case. Like my high-end instruments, I don't take them out and leave them out. They stay in the case with a humidifier, and you really have to watch that. You have to be on top of it. Instrument like this, you don't have to worry about that as much. You can hang this instrument on the wall and leave it there. It's always there. It's going to get played all the time. And the way to think about it is, people will say, well, the solid wood instrument will improve in sound over time, and sure, there's truth to that as well. But I think about it, if you equate it to something like wine, this might sound weird, but there's wine that you have on the table at dinner every night. if you're a wine drinker. And you're not going to be spending $300 or $400 on a bottle of wine to have with your dinner all the time. The odd time, you might. There's a lot of people that can't tell the difference between, just regular table wine and fancy wine. And that's sort of the way I think about this. What's going to get used a lot? And you have to balance that against the overall price. And how much better is it really down the road for all that extra money that you're going to pay for it? Okay, so just some thoughts from me. I think laminate is really a good way to go, particularly for an instrument like this. Now, pros, again, laminate, you've got really good price, you've got excellent sound, good projection. The quality to me is really good, and I think that has to do with the brand as well. And warranty as well. These come with a full 1-year warranty, and that would be supported through their dealer network. Okay. A couple of little cons, and I'm being kind of picky here. There are no side dot markers on here. Some people really like the position markers on the sides. I don't think it's honestly that big of a deal, particularly for the market that it's aimed at. They don't come with strap buttons either, which I know some people really talk about that a lot. I don't worry about that myself because strap buttons are really inexpensive and they're super easy to install. And if you're not comfortable with installing strap buttons yourself because you don't own a drill or you wouldn't want to, do that work, just take it to the local music store. If you're buying this at the retailer, just have them install them. It might cost you an extra couple of dollars, $5, $10, I don't know, something like that. But not a reason to not buy the instrument at all. All right, those are my pros and cons. To me, this instrument, just the instrument on its own, as well as the gig bag, 5 stars. I can see nothing wrong with this. I would highly recommend this for somebody, either for a really good starter instrument or for a second instrument. All right. Any questions at all on this, folks? I'm going to put Ohana's website down into the description. You can look up further information there as well, and they list all their authorized resellers, all the authorized retailers that they have on their site, so please be sure to visit one of those people. If you'd like to order one of these, any questions from me, drop it down into the comment section. I'm always more than happy to help you out. Until we see you next time, keep smiling, keep strumming, and have fun. Bye for now.